Kelowna, BC is one of Canada's fastest growing cities, and since 2016, its population has grown over 14%. There are so many reasons why more and more people have decided to call Kelowna home, and with extreme low vacancy rates and rental growth at 30% over the last year, it's also attracting many real estate investors. Tamara and Shannon Stone are the co-founders of their brokerage, the Stone Sisters, that they started in 2005, and over the years have been well recognized as one of Kelowna's top real estate teams. Tamara and Shannon love the outdoors and they both love traveling, and they just got back from Hawaii, but Kelowna is the place they will always call home. We're really excited to have you guys on the show today to share with us what's going on in the Kelowna real estate market. So thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Of course. So tell us what you're seeing in the Kelowna real estate market, especially with today's interest rates at the levels they are at.
Well, the market certainly has cooled off. In fact, in all our years of real estate together, Tamara's been selling for, 27 years or so.
We don't admit that.
Started when she was 12. Okay. So it's okay. But we've never seen a market cool as quickly as we did in this market. And I think that's fair to say that was all across the country, that occurred. But it certainly is a slower market. Our prices have come down. Our activity has slowed. That being said, people are still buying. I mean, we're fortunate to live in such a beautiful place that a lot of people still want to call the Okanagan home, whether that's buying a vacation property and wanting to vacation here or wanting to just lifestyle-wise move their families here. So we certainly are still seeing people moving here, just not in the same thrones that they were.
It's interesting because, one of the things that we do and have since Shannon joined up with me in 2005 is really trying and find people in other areas and promote Kelowna and all the amenities and the lifestyle we've got. And when we started doing this, even as recently as 12 years ago, 10 years ago, we'd go to Toronto, we'd be in Saskatoon, you'd be in some areas of Vancouver. People are like, Kelowna, okay, so where is that exactly? Lower mainland people know of us, but a lot of other places didn't. And fast forward to today, everybody knows, Kelowna. We were at a conference and doing one of our road shows last month in Montreal. And at the luggage carousel at the Montreal airport, every single one of them had a Tourism Kelowna sign there. And, people would ask you out for dinner or what have you. And they'd say, well, whereabouts are you from? And you'd say Kelowna. Even in Montreal, which, I don't know that we've had many people, I haven't had many people move here from there. They were all talking about Kelowna. They knew it. They knew our ski resort. They knew Okanagan Lake. And they want to be here.
Yeah, it's definitely put its name on the map, I think, with all the amenities it has to offer. We grew up water skiing there in Wood Lake, just outside of Kelowna. You've got Okanagan Lake, you've got the wineries, you've got hiking. There's so much amenity rich that people love up there. Now, with the prices now coming down, people, when prices are going up, are jumping in. When prices are coming down, people are a little more hesitant to purchase. Do you believe that trying to time the bottom is the right strategy? Or with things being a little bit on sale right now, do you believe that there's a good opportunity to get into the market?
The tricky part is you never know when you've reached the bottom until you're on the way back up. And I think everything is on sale right now. So I think right now is a great time to get into the market. Will we see prices continue to soften? Maybe for the next few months we might. But again, I think when the market shifts, I think we're going to see it change again quite quickly. So if you buy today as opposed to buying in 2 months, I still think you're going to be doing really well. And what's nice about buying right now is you're really in the driver's seat as far as dates. So it's not only price, but possession dates and some of the, maybe you want some of the furniture that's in the property or some of those things. You're just in such a strong negotiating position right now. And again, we just don't know when that's going to change.
Yeah, and it's nice being in a position, like you said, to negotiate a little bit, have a bit of a normalcy in the buying process, especially for maybe first-time home buyers, someone to get into the market. And we talked about seeing Kelowna at the carousel there in Kelowna, and people really moving to Kelowna. Where are you seeing these people moving from, and why are they choosing a place like Kelowna?
Well, yeah, you go, Shan.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I mean, historically speaking, we had a lot of people that would buy or speculate, invest, vacation from Alberta. I think that was the big driver in the 2007, 8, 9s. Vancouverites started to buy here in about 2012. I think Kelowna has sort of reached a critical mass where, we've got UBC Okanagan here.
Mhm.
We've got some great tech jobs. We've got an expanding hospital, which is also a medical teaching facility. So I think when some of that started to happen, and then through COVID, last year we had a ton of buyers come from the Toronto area. So, and not speculating, we had a lot of families move here, many of them sight unseen. They look, we do a video or what have you, and they were purchasing properties to move here and work remotely.
Yeah, and that kind of leads me to my next question. Is you mentioned these investors, they're originally from Alberta. Then you've got the BC influx right now. Over 2020, 2021, and even into this year. Talk about kind of where you were seeing these investors coming from. Were they mostly Alberta? Were they BC? Were you seeing over into Ontario come over as well? What were you seeing in terms of demographics there?
For sure, for just the investor market, we were seeing them from really all across the country. Predominantly, we had a lot of Vancouver buyers coming here. I think, we're fortunate to live where we do, where we are truly a Four Seasons playground. But I also, too, because we have the school and some of those amenities here, attractions that are here, our rents are actually fairly high. So, you could buy a property at the time for lower than you could be buying in Vancouver, and that still is the case. And yet our rents were significantly, not significantly, but they're about the same. So you're buying a less property price, but your rent is about the same amount. And we have, even still our vacancy rate is extremely low. And so it's a great place to invest and look at those properties. And that's what we're seeing right now in the marketplace, is that we're getting a lot of these investors that are saying, okay, I get it, it's on sale. And so they're buying now. They know that, with interest rates, yes, it's pushed some people out of the market, and it's certainly softened the market overall in prices and that sort of thing. But you've also then got an influx of people that unfortunately right now, are needing to save a little bit more. So they are renting. And so that puts even more demand on the rental market.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, rents here in Vancouver are quite high, but prices are high as well. Quite hard to find some good quality cash flowing properties in Vancouver. Is Kelowna a bit better positioned for an investment strategy with better cash flow?
Yes.
Yeah, certainly it is.
And just based off of the purchase price, and as you mentioned, those rents are seeing a significant growth. 30%, I believe, over the last year is just well positioned for those type of properties.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
There were some big name projects that were launched that really kind of changed the landscape of Kelowna in the pre-sale market there, with the Aqua and Caban and these new sort of resort style communities being launched into Kelowna. Do you see that momentum carrying on into 2023? Do you see more projects of that caliber? Or do you see the market taking a little bit of a breath and saying, hey, we had a magnitude of these projects, let's absorb this inventory? Or are there developers that are going live with these style of projects into next year?
Interesting question. And, you would think when you look at it and see how much development is happening here, that you would think that a lot of developers would say, okay, you know what, Kelowna's maxed and we're going to look elsewhere, or we're not going to invest at this time. But we get a number of phone calls from developers, not local developers, but developers from other areas that are still looking at Kelowna to invest. And they're looking at, buying land and doing land assemblies and turning that into, whether that's apartments or townhouses, or, not just vacation style properties, which is really what Aqua is, but, some of those year-round residences for the amount of people that are forecasted to move here.
Yeah, I listened to several BC-based, but also Canada-based podcasts, and a few of them always ask their guests, where's one place that you're looking to buy, invest? Where do you see a lot of growth? And several in a row have said, the Okanagan with Kelowna specific. So thanks for touching on that. And is there one building, maybe a new build that's coming up, that you guys are most excited for?
I'm pretty excited for Aqua. I know we've mentioned it a couple times now, but I just saw yesterday, so they've built, they're on to their third floor now of construction. So it's 75% done on the third floor. And now all the steel is in place for the boat storage, which is something that's really unique. I think it's the only one in North America, maybe the second one in North America, I'm not sure, but where they're having this sort of boat elevator So to me, that's just really exciting. It's going to certainly change the waterfront and how that's going to be appearing. I was born and raised here, and we actually grew up right close to that area. So it certainly has changed, but it's really exciting to see that development happening here.
Sounds very cool.
Yeah, it's going to be incredible. I mean, the number of developments. I was saying I've been away out of town and coming back. I mean, I just got back early this morning, and driving in and driving around. I can't believe how much things have changed in a few weeks, and new buildings that I swear hadn't started are up and framed, and it continues going. And I think our downtown area is really exciting. Looking at that skyline changing and seeing what's happening there, from some low-rise buildings to some of the taller ones that are up for approval or before City Council now. And at Caban, definitely, Movello, Aqua, we've got a lot, and I don't think we're at capacity. I think we're particularly. I mean, we've got a new City Council, we have a new mayor, but we're trying to get rid of that urban sprawl. They really are trying to grow up. And that's where people, when you look at the demographics of who's buying, young people want to be, they care about walk score. They want to be closer to amenities. So do some of these baby boomers and retirees. So you've got everything coming together and growing up, which I think is good to preserve the farmland and the mountains and orchards.
And it's amazing when they do start going upwards, just how quickly with concrete and both wood that it's floor a week. It feels like that just keeps going up.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
You've got a big team. You guys cover a lot of ground, a lot of different asset classes, condos, townhomes, single family homes. Talk about kind of what activity levels you're seeing in each of those three asset classes there.
Yeah, Tamara, do you want to go ahead, or do you want?
No, I'll let you. My internet seems to be a little spotty, so I think I'm cutting it in and out.
Oh, sure. No problem. So, where we're seeing, I guess, the slowest segment, I guess I'll start there in the marketplace, in between that $1 million and 1.5. That's sort of where we're seeing a little bit of a lull in the market. The most shift has happened in that single family price point. Over that price point, I think you have a consumer that's not as reliant on the interest rates, that sort of thing. So that market is actually still moving. We've had a fair amount of luxury homes, that's luxury, over ultra luxury, over 2 million sell the last few months. So that market's doing really well. The waterfront always continues to do well. We're just at such a shortage here for waterfront here in the Okanagan. And then when you look at single family, there is still a huge demand for that single family under that, $1 million price point. If you have a single family home that's now in that 800 range, that was one of our most active segments last month. I think there was 28 houses that sold in between the 800 and 900 range. Townhomes continue to do well in our marketplace just because of affordability. So less people are buying in that house point. They're now moving down into that townhouse segment. Condos are the segment that has slowed the most, and that's for resale condos. And I think part of that is because we have these new developments that we've talked about. Those aren't through MLS, so we don't have access to that sales data. So when we look at just our resale condo market, that's where we've seen the slowest amount of sales.
Thank you. And, taking a look, you guys have a great YouTube channel, really provide a lot of content to your listeners and your clients. I'd love to learn a little bit more about the Stone Sisters and maybe how you first got into real estate.
Well, we first got into real estate because our dad used to make us help with everything. And he was a realtor in the 80s. And so he worked through the market crash and worked through, some challenging markets. And we were always there growing up having to help with little things. So it was sort of inevitable that we knew, of course, we knew well about real estate. We knew the crazy life that real estate, of the crazy hours you work and that sort of thing. And Tamara got into the business first. So she worked alongside our parents, doing her own thing, but working alongside them in the 90s. And then I went, got my business degree, and Tamara was constantly always like, Shannon, come and work, come and, join in real estate. And finally, I think one day she gave up on it. And that's when I decided, well, wait a second, I think I want to do this. So when we joined, we actually weren't anticipating to work together. We didn't know what that would look like. And so the plan was, Tamara would help me, which is really nice, help me for the first 6 months and sort of train me. So I got to work alongside her. She'd been licensed already at that point for a good 10 years. So lots of knowledge. And I was able to sort of just shadow her for 6 months. And then the plan was I would just go off and do my thing, and we would sort of run our own businesses. But it worked so well, we decided, hey, this is working great. Let's stay working together. And at that point, we formed Stone Sisters and became kind of what we are today.
It's a very, very cool story, and great to see the partnership is still strong after all these years. It's always can be tricky and a sensitive spot working with family. So it's great to see that has turned out very well for you guys. And how do people feel about not being a Stone Sister on the Stone Sister team?
We make them all.
They left out of the gang, or what?
They have to change their name. So we actually only have one other sister by birth. But now we have 11 other, we have 4 brothers now. We have additional sisters. It's there. I think, the Stone Sisters name, what we're trying to help and build the brand and grow it to is just standing for some strong values and, really being honest with our clients, even if that means telling them not to buy right now or not to sell right now. And, really trying to put ourselves in their shoes and do what's right, even if that means that's not going to be right for us. It's good for them. That gives us some longevity, and our agents sort of uphold those values that truly were started from our mom and dad, years ago in the business.
That's awesome. Yeah, people definitely appreciate that commentary, especially coming from the experience that you guys have. And even if that means not getting a deal across the finish line for the best interest of them, they definitely appreciate that. If you had to pick one thing about Kelowna, if someone asked you what's your favorite thing, what would you answer?
For me, it would be the outside. I'm a big cyclist and skier and swim in the lake. So I think the fact that we've got water and mountains and so much of an outdoor playground, literally in, pretty much everybody's backyard. Even if you buy right downtown on Bernard, you can be in Knox Mountain and in great trails in a 10-minute walk.
And I would say the same thing. I was going to say hiking. It's funny. This morning, I was talking to my son. He's 9. And he said, we were driving, and he just, said to me, Mom, did you know that like some people really like it here? And well, yeah, I know that. I'm a realtor. We sell this. This is what we sell. He said, no, like they really like it here. Like this is where they think that it's just paradise to them. And he said, like, how when we go to Hawaii and we feel like that's paradise, some people think that about here. And I said, I know, and aren't we lucky we get to live here? And, and that's basically encompasses it. This is really like a paradise, and we love it all.
It really is. I grew up in Scottsdale, Arizona, and our family has a place there on the Skaha Lake. And every day at the end of the last day of the school year, we would take off to the Okanagan, and it truly is just a paradise place. I loved coming up as a kid, and we get out there a few times a year still, but it's a wonderful place to come and visit. Also, I loved hearing about you guys getting involved with it through your dad. I remember I played hockey, and we'd go tour sites that he had to go look at in the middle of 2 games on a tournament weekend. And I was so like, why are we going to do this? But it all makes sense now. So it's good to reflect back on that.
Yeah.
And for someone looking to navigate in today's market, is there any one piece of advice that you're giving your clients?
Research.
I was just going to say, have all your facts and hire someone or get your advisors, your group of people that are going to help you that certainly are experts in what they do.
Yeah, great.
I think
advice there.
I think it can be, whether you're an investor, whether you're going to live in it, raise your family, whether it's part of your legacy that you're going to leave to future generations. It's real estate's exciting, and it you can hear and just sort of want to jump in and just be like, okay, that sounds great, I'm going to do it. And I still think in most cases it's a great idea and jump into it, but just jump slowly, or make sure you've armed yourself with all the facts and you really know everything can look good on paper, but you just want to, these are big moves there. It's these are big investments we're talking about, and just want to really take your time and be thorough and know what you're doing.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I think research is important, knowing exactly what you're investing into. And our team always believes in education, whether it's, sitting down with a client, looking at the deal, or hosting different podcasts like this or educational events. It's a necessity for them to know exactly what they're getting into. And I really appreciate the both of you coming out and joining us here today. And if anyone has any questions on the Kelowna market, Kelowna real estate, buying or selling, the Stone Sisters are your go-to. And they also have a great Instagram page, YouTube page, so you can follow them on social media. And I just wanted to say thank you again for joining us.
Thank you both so much.
It was a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Thanks for jumping on.
Yeah, that was great, you guys. Thank you. And we'll talk in the new year, and then we can put you in the hot seat and ask all the questions.
Sounds great.
Look forward to it. Thanks for doing this.
Us too. Thank you.